welcome to the radio broadcast and the television broadcast and the web broadcast, Rush Limbaugh.
Hi, Melody. How are you doing?
Yay! I am so excited to see you. What is the deal with you, dude? You never get older looking. I'm telling you, you look fantastic.
I was just thinking the same thing about you. You're talking about Kansas City, and you look just as great today as you did then.
Keep it up, you smooth talker. There's a future in radio for you. Thanks for joining us today, Rush. Tell us, you know, most people don't know this about you, of course. You're detractors, of which there are two that exist out there. The rest of America loves you. But they say that, you know, you're a cold, heartless guy. But what they don't know is what I know about you, which is that you have personally contributed $200,000 to our effort today and in previous years. Yeah! See, they love you. You have been an amazing supporter.
You walked me into it, but let's add 100,000 to it for this year too. Because,
oh my gosh!
The United States military, and I had a chance to go to Afghanistan, a troop visit, I think it was 3 years ago. And one of the reasons I wanted to go was simply as I grow older, I have a greater and greater appreciation. I become more and more in awe of the people who volunteer to do what they do. They do something that, you know, 99.5% of the population of the country would not do. And they do it for the greatest of reasons. And in the last 7 or 8 years, was so tumultuous during the war in Iraq and the Bush administration, I was really offended to hear them impugned. Well, they only joined because there's no future in America. They don't have any chance to get an education. The economy's rotten and so forth. And you know, whether you disagree with the war in Iraq, why impugn the people that volunteer? Traditionally and historically, they're the reason that we're free. And it's not a cliche to say that, even though everybody does. And you know, one of the most sacred, happiest days of my life was 2003 in the summertime. I came home from work one day and there was a FedEx package, and I opened it up and there was a Ziploc bag with an American flag properly folded and certificates of fighter jets and tanker jets that flag had flown on during the original bombing runs, the invasion of Iraq in 2003. And the ringleader of the guys that set that up was a guy named Lieutenant Colonel Mark Hassara, who flew the tanker and then got the flag and all the other jets. There were 6 of them, certificates authorizing. They did this in my honor. I had no idea they were doing it. That flag now is framed in a position of honor in my house, as are the certificates. Mark and his wife were at my wedding earlier, well, this past month. All I do is talk on the radio, and these guys were thinking about me on the bombing run. That's very humbling. And I've talked to these guys in Afghanistan, the opportunity to tell them how much that they're loved and appreciated, despite how they're portrayed in the media at the time, and how much they're really respected was an opportunity I didn't want to pass up. And what you're doing for them, send these care packages, a lot of people think the military takes care of all that for them. And they don't. It's impossible for the military to do for everybody what you guys are doing. And it's a great thing, and it's just a tremendous opportunity for me to be part of it. And I really want to thank you for letting me.
Now, don't do that to me, because I put a lot of time and effort in makeup here and hair, and I'm about to start crying if you say anything. Okay. Rush, Andrew Breitbart, of course, is a good friend of yours, and Debbie Lee and Mark Williams have been your admirers for a lot of years. Andrew, I know that it's just an amazing moment for all of us to have you here today.
Well, I met Mark at his wedding. I talked to him for about an hour, and we talked about how the Rush Limbaughs of the world are the people that are out there supporting them, unlike many people. I mean, there are a lot more people in Hollywood that support them than you can possibly imagine, but when they're out there and popular culture is beating them down, it's Rush Limbaugh 15 hours a week that is constantly giving them moral conviction to go out there and fight. And that Mark was telling me, you have no idea how much these guys appreciate Rush Limbaugh.
It's true, Rush. You do not.
It's mutual. It really is. It really. But see, this is the thing. I'll tell you another quick little story. National Review had their 50th anniversary party, the magazine, at some very palatial hall in Washington, and I was invited to sit at Mr. Buckley's table. And they had invited some recovering wounded from Walter Reed. And there were 8 or 10 of them, and missing eyeballs, missing limbs. And one of these, 2 of the guys had asked to meet me. So I went over and they started thanking me for what I'm doing. I'm looking at guys who have come close to making the ultimate sacrifice, and they're thanking me. And I put my hands up and I said, wait a minute, you guys, I mean, I appreciate it. I'm not trying to diminish what you're saying, but I'm on the radio saying, I'm talking. You guys are front line. You're in the theater. And the guy put his hand up. He said, we all have our roles.
And it's true. We all do have our roles.
The humility these guys have, the discipline that they have, men and women too. I don't mean to say guys, but the people, they volunteer to do this, the discipline they have, the devotion they have. And especially, you know, I don't want to get political in your show here, but there really is not the leadership they should have going on right now, and yet they're still there. And you just have to love them. And people like you who are doing what you're doing and organizing collective efforts like this, giving your time, are to be as applauded as well, too.
When we were in Iraq in 2005, that was one of the things that people were asking me about, is you and your support for the troops. This is the thing that concerns me the very most right now, is that our troops are in danger of being forgotten to death right now, because 2005, the war wasn't going as well as it could have been going. It has since changed dramatically on the ground in Iraq. We now have the additional challenge of Afghanistan, but we cannot stop talking about the troops just because these wars have disappeared off the headlines and the front pages of newspapers, which I guess a few people read these days, or the internet, or wherever you get your news source.
All the more reason to applaud the effort that you're taking and making now. You're exactly right about it. It seems like in our highly charged political times, the military ought not be a political institution, but it's become that. And so since we have an administration now which doesn't want to emphasize successful military operations, they're not on the front page, and the successes that they record are not being reported, and they deserve for that to happen. You know, they watch, Melanie, you saw, they've got the news on where they are. They at least it was in Afghanistan. I know McChrystal didn't want them watching news, any network where he was, but they do. And when I was there, the question, why are we, in Afghanistan particularly, why are we not being talked about? Well, we were having some, at the time, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago, we're having some great success. Why is it not being reported on? I said, that's why. Our media back home's focused on trying to make Iraq something that's unsuccessful, and you guys don't fit the template. And I just think it's a crying shame that the military gets plugged into and taken out of media templates. So God bless all of you for what you're doing here.
We know your time is limited. We're extremely grateful. I have to just tell you real quickly, ever since you mentioned the Troopathon.org, which is our website location where people can go to donate on your radio program, the orders started coming in every 10 seconds. The power of your voice out there reaching across America to support our brave men and women in the United States military. God bless you. Thanks,
God bless all of you, and thanks again for the chance to be the lead-off guest on this great show.
Always.
Thank you, Rush.
Thank you, Rush Limbaugh.
Thank you, guys.